Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 20 and 21st of June 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affairs. So watch this video till last, but I am requesting you all the students that you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe the channel if you are new on this platform. Guys, you can download our application name is Careers Cloud, and you can download this application from the description box link. After downloading, you can log in with your email ID, and after login, you can click on this crack current affair section if you want to subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2-year validity of current affairs. The most important thing, we are covering 90 to 95% of the current affairs which are coming in your exams. And guys, the price of these subscriptions are very much low. And first of all, how we are covering these type of the current affairs, we are covering daily current affairs. In the daily section, you will receive three type of things. One is detailed current affair, question and answer format of current affair, and third is the quiz section which you can attempt on application on daily basis. Next is the weekly section. In the weekly, you will get three type of the sections. One is detailed current affair, second is the question and answer format of current affair, and third is the quiz section. And this quiz you can attempt on an application on weekly basis. Next, most important section is the monthly. We are providing four type of PDFs. One is the detailed current affair, second is the question and answer format of current affair, third is the best 100 current affair which will be provided in the form of question and answer, and last is the pocket PDF. It means you can revise these current affairs in the 2-liner, 3-liner before your exam. But to enhance your performance, we are also providing some topic wise current affair, and we are covering 20 most important topics which are very important for every type of exam. And if you want to revise all the current affairs related to one particular topic from single PDF, then this section is for you. If you're a banking aspirant, then we are providing three things. One is detailed current affair, second is question and answer format of current affair related to banking and economy, third is the quiz section which you can attempt on an application on monthly basis. If you want to revise all the past current affair of 2021, like 5 to 6 months current affair from single PDF, then this exam PDF is for you. We are also providing budget and economic survey. We are providing detailed section of this budget and economic survey, and also providing expected question and answer which examiner can ask. And guys, if you are preparing for your state exam, then we are also providing state current affairs, and we are covering every state and union territory. So all these current affairs are provided to you under single subscription. There is no different subscription. You have to just download our application Careers Cloud, and you have to log in with your email ID, and you can click on this crack current affair section if you want to subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 year. Both the subscription prices are very much low. If you see the price, you will definitely surprise, and on that minimal price we are providing 10% extra discount if you use this code ASH10. And guys, you can also contact us on this number, and you can also email us on this email ID if you have any type of query. So let's begin today's session, that is 20th and 1st of June 2021. But you have to like this video, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. You can join our Telegram group from the description box link. So let's begin today's session with the most important question section, and here is the first question. Who won European Inventor Award 2021? So the most important thing under this question by default is European Inventor Award for the year of 2021. So guys, answer of this question is B, Sumita Mitra. You have to remember the name, you have to remember the award. This is the most important thing. And guys, remember, she is Indian American chemist named as Sumita Mitra. Sumita Mitra won the European Patent Office European Inventor Award 2021. It means this award is basically given by one of the organization which is known as EPO. This is European Patent Office. It is situated in Germany, and she won this award under the non-European Patent Office category for her work and invention in the nanotechnology in the dental field. You can see her picture here. Indian American Sumita Mitra wins European Inventor Award 2021, and you can recall the answer by the image. And you can also see here, she won this award under the non-EPO. EPO stands for European Patent Office, the organization which is giving this award, countries category, for her innovation dental filling invention using the nanotechnology. And she was the first one to have successfully integrated nanotechnology into the dental material. And she also invented stronger, durable, aesthetically pleasing dental fillings. And the filling is developed by the Mitra along with her team using a technique for creating linked clusters of nanoparticles or the nano clusters. Her invention is remaining successful for around 20 years after the commercialization of the dental filling, and it has been used in more than 1 billion tooth restoration. So guys, she was also elected to the National Academy of Engineering in 2021 for her invention in the dental field. So you have to remember, this is for her innovation in the dental filling using the nanotechnology. So this is the most important thing. You have to remember three things very important under this question: name, award, and the third thing is the field, why she basically received this award. And you can also remember this award, European Inventor Award 2021, or you can say the European Inventor Award. It is the Europe's most prestigious award, and it was launched in the year of 2006, and it is basically presented annually by it to honor individual and team inventors from Europe and beyond who have made an exceptional contribution to the society, technological process, and economic growth through their inventions. And winners of the award are presented with a trophy in the shape of a sail, and as one of the world's oldest invention, and the sail is the remainder of the ingenuity of the humankind. So guys, there are different type categories like lifetime achievement category, industry category, research category, but you don't have to remember. You have to just remember non-EPO or non-EPO category. So this is important thing. But other options are again important here. Like you are seeing the first option, Shyamala Ganesh. Shyamala Ganesh recently won Order of Rising Sun Award. Remember, Order of Rising Sun. And this award was basically given by the Japanese government. Next is Justice Geeta Mittal. She recently won Erline Pect Global Vision Award. You can remember Erline Pect Global Vision Award 2021. Next is Suresh Mukund. He recently won 10th Annual World Choreography Award. I am writing here World Choreography Award. So you can remember of 2020. So Suresh Mukund, Justice Geeta Mittal, Shyamala Ganesh all won this type of award in the year of 2021 in the month of May. So you have to remember this. Now we can move into second question. Who will take over as crisis hit Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, or you can say the PMC Bank? Very important and the most important question for the banking students. So I think all the students remember this. In September 2019, PMC Bank was placed under curbs for the financial irregularities. And guys, the PMC Bank scam broke out following the bankruptcy of Housing Development and Infrastructure Limited, or you can say HDIL, a single borrower with a 73% stake in the PMC credit book. In this regard, RBI suspended its board and put a cap on the withdrawal by its customers. So this is basically the history of this PMC Bank. Now, one financial services company is basically overtaking this bank, and this company is Centrum Financial Services Limited. It is a subsidiary of Centrum Financial Limited. You have to remember Centrum Financial Services Limited. So you can also see here, Centrum gets RBI in principle note to take over PMC Bank via small finance bank route. It means this Centrum Financial Services Limited first will become the you can say the small finance bank, and after that it will take the PMC Bank. You can see here, RBI granted in principle approval of the Centrum Financial Services Limited to set up a small finance bank. So firstly they will set up a small finance bank, then this small finance bank will take over this Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, and this Centrum Financial Services Limited will get a license for commencement of banking business under the section 22(1). So you have to remember, it is under the section 22 clause 1 of the Banking Regulation Act of 1949, under which RBI is providing the license to this Centrum Financial Services Limited. For setting up the small finance bank, there will be a capital infusion of rupees 1800 crore by the Centrum Capital Limited and its partner Bharat Pay. So remember, the 1800 crore will be the capital infusion by this Centrum Capital Limited, and the partner bank is the Bharat Pay. And the capital will be infused in the two equal installments, like 900 crore is the first installment, and second is also 900 crore. And the first installment will be utilized for business initiation, while the second one will be provided next year. A period of 120 days is provided for its commencement. And guys, you can also remember, Centrum and Bharat Pay will hold 50% share in Small Finance Bank. So you have to just remember two things, that first they will establish the small finance bank with the help of the Bharat Pay, the you can say the partner group of the Centrum Finance Limited. And second thing, after forming the small finance bank, they will form this, or they will take over this Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. So two things are very important. One is the Centrum Financial Services. Second is Bharat Pay is also important. So remember about Bharat Pay. Bharat Pay was established in 2018. Its chief executive officer is Ashneer Grover. Ashneer Grover. You have to remember this. Headquarters is in Delhi. Centrum Financial Services Limited is not so much important, but the question is most important. That's why I am telling you. Otherwise, if you want to skip that, you can skip. So Managing Director and CEO is Ranjan Ghosh. Ranjan Ghosh. So my suggestion is that you have to just read this name. Otherwise, don't remember. So it is not important. Moving to next question. So this question is from picture, because we can't cover this person in just single question. So that's why we are covering this just from picture. Legendary Indian sprinter Milkha Singh dies. So I think my words are very short for this person, but I am just covering the important points. If I am considering your exam, you can see here legendary Indian sprinter Padam Shri Milkha Singh, who is popularly known as Flying Sikh, in an Indian athletic field. So he passed away at the age of 91. He passed away at the age of 91 because he was born in 1929. In which area? In Pakistan. Currently, the area when he was born is now in Pakistan. The exact place is Govindpura. If you want to remember, if he belongs to especially Punjab, then you have to remember this. He was born in Govindpura, now in Pakistan, and he was born on 20th of November 1929. The year you have to remember. Milkha Singh represented India in the 1956 and 1964 Olympics, and in 1960 Olympic Games held in Rome, Italy, and completed 4th at the 400 meter race. And when he completed 4th at the 400 meter race, this remained a national record for around 40 years, which was surpassed by athlete Paramjit Singh in 1998. It was surpassed by Paramjit Singh in 1998, like after 40 years. And he has won 4 Asian gold medals. Remember, he has won 4 Asian gold medals. And he also won India's first ever track and field Commonwealth Games gold in the 400 meter race at Commonwealth Games held in 1958 in Cardiff. So I'm writing here 2 or 3 things you can even write on your notebook, like he won gold medal in 1958 Asian Games, like 2 gold medal in 1958 Asian Games, like in 200 meter and the 400 meter. So 2 medal in the 1958 Asian Games. Next, he won the 1962 Asian Games gold medal, and again 2 times, like 400 meter and 4 into 400 meter relay. So gold medal again in 1962. So I think you can remember, in 1958 Asian Games he won 2 gold medal. In 1962 again he won 2 gold medal, and in 1958 Commonwealth Games he also won the gold medal in 440 yards category. He won the Padam Shri award in 1959. You have to remember when he won the Padam Shri award in 1959. And the race of my life, an autobiography, is also you have to remember. So it is an basically autobiography, and you can remember it is written by Milkha Singh and co-authored by his daughter Sonia Sanvalka. So you can remember Sonia, or you can just remember the Sonia. This novel, or you can say this autobiography, is basically written by Milkha Singh and co-authored by his daughter Sonia Sanvalka. This is the full name. So these are the things related to, you can say, Milkha Singh. You can remember the birthplace, the birth year, the titles he won. He won 4 gold medals and the 1 gold medal in the Commonwealth Games. So all these things, and Padam Shri he won in 1959. So these are the most important questions we covered. Now we are moving to the very important questions. You have to like this video, share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. Guys, you can join our Telegram group from the description box link. And I am again requesting you, all the students who are watching this video, especially because you are not liking this video, as because views are more and likes are very less, so that's why it means you are not liking this video. So you have to like this video. So here is the first question in the very important section. So first question is, Indian Navy and which country conducted a joint naval exercise at the Indian Ocean? So it has happened in Indian Ocean under the motive Free and Open Indo-Pacific Area. So 2 things are very important under this question, especially one thing, it is happened in Indian Ocean. Second, it is for the motive of free and open Indo-Pacific area, and this country is Japan. It means Indian Navy and Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force conducted a joint naval exercise at the Indian Ocean under the motive free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. And you can also see here India and Japan conducted bilateral naval exercise in Indian Ocean. And you can also remember the Indian side was represented by INS Kulish. INS Kulish. Don't remember from the Japan side which ships are participated, but you have to just remember from Indian side it is participated by INS Kulish. And you can also remember this strategy like free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. It consists of three pillars. One is promotion and establishment of rule of law, freedom of the navigation and free trade. And second thing, pursuit of economic prosperity, or you can say improving connectivity and the other things. And third thing is commitment for peace and stability. So these are two or three things which are the basically pillar of this free and open Indo-Pacific area, especially to counter the Chinese dominance under this area. But you can also remember other exercises which were held between India and Japan. One is the Dharma Guardian. You have to remember, I am writing here Dharma Guardian. Dharma Guardian, it is basically a military exercise. Second is Malabar exercise, but it is not in between India and Japan only. It is a trilateral naval exercise between India, Japan and United States of America. Next is JIMEX. This is, I think, very famous exercise, Japan India maritime exercise. So it is also a naval exercise, and it was held in September 2020, and it is held between India and Japan. So you can remember these exercises. These are between India and Japan. So guys, now we can move to the next question. For how much time period Antonio Guterres re-elected as United Nations Secretary General for the second term? We all know that currently the United Nations Secretary General is Antonio Guterres, but his time period is now completed in 2021. But now he was again elected for the time period of 5 years. So answer of this question is D. So his second term of 5 years will start from first January 2022, and it will be end in December 2026. So January 2022 full year and 2026 also the full year. It means 22, 23, 24, 25 and 26. So these are the 5 years. And his appointment was made by the United Nations General Assembly on the recommendation of the 15 nations of United Nations Security Council, under which 5 are permanent members and 10 are non-permanent members, and announced by the President of 75th session of United Nations General Assembly, that is Volkan. And it should be noted here that United Nations Charter, the Secretary General is appointed by the United Nations General Assembly on the recommendation of the United Nations Security Council. And guys, you can also remember this Antonio Guterres belongs to which country? He belongs to Portugal. So you have to remember he belongs to Portugal. He was basically the ex-Prime Minister of Portugal. He was the Prime Minister from 1995 to 2002. But these things are not very important. You have to remember the name of the country. And he is the 9th person to assume the position of United Nations Secretary General. This is important. He was the 9th person to assume the position of United Nations Security Council. He also served as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in 2005 to 2015. Recently, he called for debt relief extension for the middle income countries amid COVID-19 crisis. So the most important thing under this question is the name of this person, Antonio Guterres. He belongs to Portugal. He was re-elected for the 5-year time period from 2022 to 2026. And the very important and the most important thing is he is the 9th person to assume the position of United Nations Secretary General. And one thing noted here more that there has been no woman Secretary General in the United Nations since the establishment of United Nations. So you can also remember. And the United Nations was established in 1945, and total member countries are 193. India also became the member in 1945, and its secretariat is in New York, United States of America. So you can remember these things. And you can also see here the picture of Antonio Guterres re-elected as the United Nations Secretary General for the second 5-year term. Now moving to next question. Which bank launched COVID-19 relief program Ghar Ghar Ration? So according to the guidelines of the RBI, every bank have to launch some type of the program related to COVID-19. Now this bank is launched COVID-19 relief program Ghar Ghar Ration. So it was basically started by IDFC First Bank. So IDFC First Bank launched this employee funded. So remember, it is an employee funded relief program named Ghar Ghar Ration for its low income customers whose livelihoods are affected due to COVID-19. So you can see here, IDFC First Bank has announced the launch of Ghar Ghar Ration program. And you can see here, it is an employee funded relief program. What is meaning of this employee funded relief program? It means a customer COVID care fund was set up from the contribution of the bank employees' personal income, and employees contributed 1 day to 1 month salary. 1 day to 1 month salary. It means 1 day salary of every employee will be given to this fund, and this fund is known as COVID Care Fund. And a customer COVID Care Fund was set up for the contribution of the bank employees' personal income, and ration kits will be supplied under the program of 50,000 COVID-19 affected low income customers of the IDFC First Bank. And under this kit, they are providing like you can say 10 kg rice and 10 kg flour and 2 kg dal or the lentils, 1 kg sugar and salt, 1 kg cooking oil, 5 packets of assorted spices, tea and the biscuits and etc., which are basically the daily needs. And the ration kits are delivered directly in the person to the customers in rural locations, but in the urban location, prepaid cards worth rupees 1800 were provided to the customer, which can be used by them to buy the essentials. So it means in the rural areas these kits are provided, but in the urban areas rupees 1800 worth card will be provided so that they can purchase these essentials. And under the pilot program, 1000 ration kits were already distributed by the bank employees. And the bank has also launched an employee COVID care scheme 2019 to support the families of employees who have lost their lives due to COVID-19. It is only for the employees of the IDFC First. So along with this, the bank also implemented like Jankari Mein Samajhdari program, oxygen concentrated donation camp, Gaon Gaon mask program, mask distribution program, cash relief support. There are so many things which will be started by this bank and which are already started by this bank. So there are so many things. Even every bank is basically participating in this type of the campaign so that we can eliminate the COVID-19 problems. So this is the thing you have to remember, employee COVID care scheme 2021, and you can remember also about this program which is known as Ghar Ghar Ration program. So remember about IDFC First Bank. IDFC First Bank was basically established, or you can say IDFC First Bank and the Capital First Bank was merged in 2018 and formed the IDFC First Bank, because earlier its name was IDFC Bank, and after merging with the Capital First it became the IDFC First. So it was basically established in 2018, and its headquarters is in Mumbai, and its MD and CEO is V. Vaidyanathan. So remember this. Moving to next question. A book titled Monk in a Merc authored by whom? So in simple word, you can basically call this book as a Monk in a Mercedes. Merc stands for the Mercedes, and you can see here the cover page of this book, Monk in a Merc, and Merc stands for this Mercedes. And guys, remember, this book is written by a very famous person and a very famous Indian neurologist basically, and Padma Shri awardee, Dr. Ashok Pangaria. So answer of this question is D. And this book gets released after the demise of Dr. Ashok Pangaria, who passed away in the June 2021. It means we can say late Ashok Pangaria ji. The book talks about his life and experience in achieving eternal happiness and mental peace while pursuing all the life luxurious and the professional success. And guys, you can also remember here, he's a younger brother of Arvind Pangaria, who is the first vice chairman of the Niti Aayog. And Ashok Pangaria was a neurologist and previously served as the vice chancellor of Rajasthan University of Health Sciences. The book My Father, Extraordinary Story of an Ordinary Man, authored by Arvind Pangaria, also got released in July 2021. So you can remember about Arvind Pangaria because this Ashok Pangaria is also the brother of Arvind Pangaria, and Arvind Pangaria is the first vice chairperson of the Niti Aayog. And Arvind Pangaria book is again very famous, My Father, The Extraordinary Story of an Ordinary Man. Now a book written by his brother, Monk in a Mercedes, this is Ashok Pangaria. So don't confuse it with, I am just leaving this question as Monk with a Mercedes, and it is by Ashok Pangaria. And this book is a life and experiences of achieving eternal happiness and mental peace while pursuing all the luxurious and professional success. So you can also see here the cover page, I already show you, and the other books are again very famous here. Like first one you can see here, the Vikram Sampath. Vikram Sampath, you can say not very famous author, but he recently wrote very famous book that is known as Savarkar. Savarkar, a contested legacy from 1924 to 1966. It is basically second part of this book. Earlier, the book was written like it was also the life of Savarkar. It was the first phase of the life from birth to 1924, now 1924 to 1966. It is about the V.D. Savarkar. Next, Ravi Shastri, the coach of Indian team, and he wrote a book, Strategizing. And the caption is The Players in My Life. So remember, Stargazing. I am writing here, Stargazing. So this is the name of the book. Next is Shiv Shankar Menon. He wrote India and Asian Geopolitics, the Past and Present. India and the Asia Geopolitics, the Past and Present. So you can remember this book also. Moving to next question. Which state launched Mukhya Mantri Udyami Yojana scheme? First of all, you have to remember under this scheme, there are two different schemes. One is the Mukhya Mantri Mahila Udyami Yojana. Second is Mukhya Mantri Yuva Udyami Yojana. So combinedly, we can say it is Mukhya Mantri Udyami Yojana. It is basically started by Bihar government. You can see here, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar launched two new schemes. One is for the Mahila or second is for the Yuva. It means one for the women and second is for the youth. So it is for the Mukhya Mantri Women Udyami Yojana and second is Mukhya Mantri Yuva, or you can say the Youth Udyami Yojana. It is to provide the loan so that they can start the business. And you can see here differently, like Mukhya Mantri Mahila Udyami Yojana, under this scheme, an unemployed woman will be provided a sum of 10 lakh rupees for starting a new business or the small industry. And out of 10 lakh rupees, 5 lakh would be subsidy. It means 5 lakh will be provided by the state government, and the woman does not need to return this money, while the remaining 5 lakh rupees will be interest free loan. Remember, 5 lakh is a subsidy, 5 lakh is basically a interest free loan, and the amount can be returned in many installments, like in the 7 year after the start of the new enterprise. When the enterprise was started, after that under the 7 year time period, you can return this loan. So it is a very you can say helpful scheme and very inspiring scheme for the women. Next is Mukhya Mantri Yuva Udyami Yojana. It is same scheme. It means 10 lakh rupees will be provided to unemployed youth to start a new enterprise or industry. Again, the 5 lakh rupees under this scheme is a subsidy amount. It means they need not to return this money, but rest 5 lakh is not interest free here. For the woman it is interest free, but here it is not interest free. 1% interest rate will be charged, and it also can be returned in many installments. So for the men or you can say for the youth, 1% interest will be charged, but for the woman no interest will be. This is the difference between the Mukhya Mantri Yuva Udyami Yojana and Mukhya Mantri Mahila Udyami Yojana. So you can remember these things. These are very, very important things. And guys, remember, Bihar capital is Patna, governor is Fagu Chauhan, chief minister all you know, that is Nitish Kumar. And in Bihar, a very famous national park is there, Valmiki National Park. Remember, Valmiki National Park. Moving to next question. India targeted to end tuberculosis or the TB in India by which year? So three things are very important under this question. First of all, World Health Organization also set a target to end tuberculosis globally by the year of 2030. This is the first thing you have to remember, that World Health Organization targeted to end TB or the tuberculosis globally by 2030. Second thing, India also targeted to provide the treatment of tuberculosis by 2022, but they have to develop the TB vaccine by the year of 2023. India will develop TB vaccine by the year of 2023, and India will also reach the goal to end tuberculosis in India by the year of 2025. So answer of this question is B. So you can see here, Union Health Minister Harsh Vardhan addressed the WHO Global Tuberculosis Program on global drive to scale up the tuberculosis prevention. And guys, its main purpose is to just prevent the tuberculosis and achieving the 2022 United Nations high level meetings target on the tuberculosis preventive treatment. And I think you have covered all the three targets: World Health Organization, tuberculosis vaccine by India, and end of tuberculosis by India. So these three things are very important. And Dr. Harsh Vardhan participated in the high level event of the global drive to scale up the tuberculosis prevention virtually. So by default, examiner can ask that who participated from Indian side. So it is related to health. So by default, health minister will enter this. And India called for global community to devise tuberculosis vaccine by the 2023. And India will also launch a multi-agency call to action to scale up the TB prevention and the case this finding. So guys, India's first tuberculosis free union territory is Lakshadweep. You have to remember, first tuberculosis free union territory is Lakshadweep. First tuberculosis free district is Budgam, which is situated in Jammu and Kashmir. This question we covered in the April month, so I think you know, and we covered in the different two slides, so I think you can remember this. And currently we can see say that BCG vaccine is the most commonly used vaccine against tuberculosis, which is given to the newborn children within 10 weeks of the childbirth. And Dr. Robert Koch was the first to discover tuberculosis disease. So you can remember these things. These are very important. Now we can move to the next question. All things are covered now. India and which country launched hydrogen task force? And this country is United States of America. So what is the meaning of this hydrogen task force? So it simple means hydrogen energy technologies, and you can see here United States of America and India to set up hydrogen task force. And this task force aims to promote focused public-private cooperation among the two countries, which will help in rapid development and deployment of the hydrogen energy technologies. And it will help in decarbonizing high-polluting industrial sectors and achieve a greener and cleaner planet. And the hydrogen task force will serve as the forum for thought leaders or to achieve affordable hydrogen solutions, so that we can use maximum to maximum hydrogen energy. Even members of this task force will assess technology status, study innovative policy option, and make recommendations. It will organize into the steering committee of the government level and industry council and the working groups of the subcommittees in the identified priority areas. And the hydrogen, which is considered as the clean fuel, will be essential for India as it is looking to reduce its oil dependency. India imports 85% of its oil and 53% of the gas demand. So this is very huge. So to reduce these type of the demands in the import sector, we have to basically discover this type of the hydrogen technology, and hydrogen is very clean fuel. So you have to remember this. And guys, remember India and US also agreed to revise the India-US strategic energy partnership recently in April 2021. So it is basically signed by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, who is the Union Minister is Rajkumar Singh. And constituency of Rajkumar Singh is Ara. Ara is in Bihar. So you can remember this. Moving to next question. Who was known as Kerala's father of library movement? The death anniversary of this person observed as the National Reading Day. So there are two questions under one question. When National Reading Day is celebrated? And it is celebrated on the death anniversary of the Kerala's father of library movement. So answer of this question is P.N. Panikkar. Second question, when National Reading Day is celebrated? So this day is celebrated on 19th of June. Every year. So you have to remember National Reading Day, 19th of June 2021. And India will celebrate June 19 to 25, the week following the National Reading Day, which is celebrated on 19th of June. So from 19th of June to 25th of June, we will celebrate the week of National Reading Day. But you have to remember from 19th of June to 18th of July, it means the full month will be celebrated as Reading Month. And the National Reading Day was first started in 1996, and on 19th June 2021 marks the celebration of 26th National Reading Day, because it was firstly established in 1996. So you have to remember about P.N. Panikkar. You can also say that P.N. Panikkar is also known for the non-formal education movements like Kerala Association for Non-Formal Education and Development, literacy campaigns like Total Literacy in 1986, it was launched. And he played a major role in establishing a Kerala State Library Council and served as the General Secretary of the Sangham for 32 years until 1977. So you have to just remember if you belongs to Kerala, otherwise you have to first remember only the Kerala's father of library movement is P.N. Panikkar. And guys, you can also remember C.F. Andrews. He was known as Deen Bandhu. And Deshbandhu is known as Chittaranjan Das. So these are the history questions you have to remember. Moving to next question. Which company joined World Economic Forum partnership for the new work standards initiative? It means the new work standard initiative will be applied under this organization according to the World Economic Forum. And this company is Wipro. So you can see here The initiative aims to build human first work standards by co-creating new frameworks and utilizing tools and technology. So it's an initiative to establish a healthy, resilient and equitable future of work. And guys, you can also remember that Wipro is also undertaking initiatives to support its people with the dedicated programs for physical, social, financial and the mental well-being. This is very kind of thing by the Wipro, and this is you can say the need of an hour. Because of COVID-19, many people are socially, even financially and mentally disturbed. So that's why there is a need of these type of the programs. And Wipro was established in 1971. Its headquarters is in Clogny, Switzerland. Moving to next question. It is just a simple question. You can just remember the question as in slide. So now we are moving to the important question. You have to like this video, share this video and subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. And guys, you can join our Telegram group from the description box link, and please like this video. If you're watching this video, please like this video. Here is the question. India and which country signed an MOU for the developing cooperation between the two countries in the area of environment? Again, we are talking about environment. Firstly, we are talking about the hydrogen task force, and it is with the United States of America. Now we are talking about the overall environment. Then this country is Bhutan. You can also see in the picture, India and Bhutan signed MOU for the developing cooperation in the area of environment. In the area of environment, it will also enable bilateral cooperation in the areas of climate change and the waste management. And MOU will strengthen technological, scientific, management capabilities and expand the areas of cooperation in the field of environment. Both sides will support exchange best practices in area like prevention of air pollution, waste management, chemical management, climate change and other things which are basically harmful for the environment. So you have to remember the country is India and second country is Bhutan for the environment. And for the hydrogen task force, it is United States of America. And remember about Bhutan. Bhutan Prime Minister is Lote Tshering. Lote Tshering. I think so many students don't know about the Prime Minister of Bhutan. So Lote Tshering, and the capital is Thimphu. This is very common. And currency is Bhutanese Ngultrum. Ngul, Ngultrum. Ngultrum. So moving to next question. Who endorsed the new strategic framework for 2022 to 2031? It is basically on the lines of sustainable development goal, which we have to achieve by the year of 2030. So these are known as new strategic framework 2022 to 2031. And this organization is Food and Agriculture Organization. So you can also see here the picture, like you can see here 42nd session of FAO conference, and it is Shri Narendra Singh Tomar from Indian side, because he is currently the Union Minister of Food Processing. And you can see here Union Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar addressed the 42nd session of the Food and Agriculture Organization. And you can also see here it is basically for the launch of new strategic framework of 2020 to 2031, which will be support the 2030 agenda for the sustainable development, especially related to the food. And the conference elected Ambassador Hans Hogeven as the new independent chairperson of the council for the next 2 years, like for 2021 to 2023. You have to just remember this name. Otherwise, if you don't remember, then it is not so much important. It is Hans, or the full name is Hogeven. My pronunciation can be wrong, but you have to just remember the name. Next, you have to remember the conference is the supreme governing body. This is FAO conference. So this conference is a supreme governor body of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization and meets once in 2 years. So the 42nd session of the conference was the first one held virtually in the history. The conference determines the strategy and policies of the organization, approves the budget and makes recommendation to the members on food and agricultural issues. And 2023 as declared as the International Year of Millet. We already discussed so many times, and Narendra Singh Tomar thanked the Food and Agriculture Organization for endorsing and its proposal to declare 2023 as the International Year of Millets. And Narendra Singh Tomar also highlighted that FAO endorsed India's proposal for International Year of Pulses, which was celebrated in year 2016. International Year of Pulses was endorsed by India and it was celebrated in 2016. So India also started so many initiatives, like one was started like Kisan Rail. I think many students know this Kisan Rail, it is a train with the refrigeration facility, was introduced in India to transport essential commodities such as perishable horticulture produce, milk and dairy products and other. Second, India also started during the COVID-19 like Pradhan Mantri Gareeb Kalyan Yojana, under which free food grains are provided, and it will be provided till November 2021. Next is PM Kisan scheme, the financial assistance scheme for the farmers. So 100 million farmers will be benefited. So these are the things which are started by the Indian agriculture. So FAO, you have to remember, Food and Agriculture Organization, headquarters is in Rome, Italy, and its member countries are 194, and its director general is UDONG, QUDONGYU, UDONGU. So you can remember the name. Moving to next section, it is our one-liner important point. Here is the first point. Election Commission of India released Journal Election 2019 India and Atlas. So first of all, you have to remember, Election Commission of India is a constitutional body under Article 324, and one is the Chief Election Commissioner, other are the two election commissioners. Chief Election Commissioner is Sushil Chandra, recently appointed, and one election commissioner, Rajiv Kumar, that is the old, and Anup Chandra Pandey, he was also recently appointed as one of the commissioner of the Election Commission of India. And recently this body released the General Election 2019 India and Atlas, which consists of data and statistical figures of 17th general elections held in 2019, like the Lok Sabha elections of 2019. Next is Indonesian badminton player and Olympic gold medalist Markis Kido passed away. So you have to remember three things under this question. One is the name of the player, Markis Kido. He belongs to which game? Basically, he belongs to badminton, and he belongs to which country? He belongs to Indonesia. And he died at very young age, 36 years, due to heart attack. He had won the 2008 Olympics gold medal, 2006 World Cup, 2007 World Championship title. So these are the titles which were won by. So remember three things. Indo-French researchers developed new way of imaging through fog. So it is basically a, you can say, new improved imaging method to make a clear image of objects in the foggy weather condition. So it is just a information for you, not a question. Union Cabinet approves Inland Vessels Bill 2021. So what is the aim of this bill? The bill aims to streamline vessels or the ships which run on the 4,000 kilometer area of operational inland waterway in India. The Inland Vessel Bill 2021 will replace the old Inland Vessel Act of 1917, the way back in the British time period. So this bill of 2021 regulates the safety, security and registration of inland vessels and introduce a unified law for entire India instead of the separate rules formed by the states. So all the inland waterways will be now regulated by the under one law, and it is not according to the states regulations. The certificate of registration granted under the proposed law will be valid in all states and the union territories, eliminating the need for getting separate permission from the states. So this is the main thing under this bill. So it will cover 4,000 kilometers of operation inland waterways in India. Next, PayPoint India signed pact with the banks and NBFCs for lending services. So first of all, you have to read about PayPoint India. It is a technology-enabled distribution network of the financial services. They signed a lead generation agreement with the 12 financial institutions like Punjab National Bank, ICICI, and non-financial banking companies like you can say Bajaj Housing, Pirmal Housing, Hero Financial Corporation and others. Its main objective to assist with the loans to underserved using technology and to generate leads for housing, personal and the business loans through the partnership with the banks and NBFC. It means the loans will be provided by these banks and NBFCs, but the assistance will be provided by this PayPoint India. PayPoint India headquarters is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Next, force people displacement increased to 82.4 million in 2020, especially for the COVID-19, especially after the COVID-19, you can say. So this is a report of UNHCR. What is the meaning of this organization? United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. High Commissioner for Refugees, its headquarters is in Geneva. So according to this report, number of people facing forced displacement has increased despite COVID-19 related movement restrictions. The report states that more than 1% of the world population, or 1 in 95 people, are now forcibly displaced. This compares with 1 in 159 in 2010, but now 1 in 95 people is now displaced. It is basically a report, so just read this, don't remember. Moving to next, it is after the one-liner question, it is the question of the day. What was the question of 19th of June? What is the type of banking where banks operate only from a single branch? So this is a new kind of question, and it is a very simple question because it is known as unit banking. Unit banking stands for single branch banking. So unit stands for single. So that's why the answer is very simple. Answer is B. So now question of the day is again very simple. What do we call the type of banking carried out by the non-bank financial intermediaries which provide services similar to those of the traditional commercial banks? It means the type of banking which are basically led by the non-financial companies or the non-banking financial intermediaries who provide the same services as the commercial bank. So you have to tell me the answer. Again, the options are somehow same because in the last question narrow banking and shadow banking was the option. Now again shadow banking and the narrow banking again, but there are two more options, social banking and mixed banking. So you have to answer me only in the comment box. I'm waiting your answer. So you have to like this video, you have to subscribe this channel, you have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you can join our Telegram group from the description box. Look, you can also press the bell button so that you can receive the notification on time, and it is Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section, and it is my personal promise that if you're watching the videos regularly, your current affair section will go strong. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hopeful ki you are gaining something every day. I am hoping that you are gaining everything, and don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy because happiness is the key of success. Thank you guys. Take care and bye-bye.